Okay, so I bought this machine new in 1999, if I remember correctly. The original engine was a Tecumseh, which I had nothing but problems with from day one. It always, I got wasps living in there again, dang it. Anyway, there's countless things I had to do to the Tecumseh to keep it going, and eventually the seal finally dropped out of the crankshaft, and my mom was using it at the time, and she basically ran out of oil. So I had put a 6-horse Briggs on it to replace that. That engine ran for a couple minutes and then lost compression. The reason it lost compression, don't remember, I think the intake, I can't really remember, the seat fell out, the valve seat. So, I mean, just, run at full speed, so when it dropped out, it just kind of chattered everything up. I couldn't even peen it back in. That engine I got used, so I got another engine, and I put it on there. It was also a 6-horse. I used that engine for, I don't know, maybe a couple hours before that one did the same thing, which I just had a lot of 6 horses, because honestly I like the 5 and the 5.5, which look very similar to the 6-horse. But the 5.5 doesn't have the problem with the valve seat, but all I was having are the 6 horses. And even when I worked at the salvage yard, 9 out of 10 of the lawnmowers that had the 6-horse or 6.5, all them things that look like the 5.5, almost every single one had the same issue where the valve seat had dropped. This engine here, I put it on the machine. I ran it for about 10, I don't even think it was 10 minutes. And then it stopped running. I'm like, what the hell? And the first thing that goes through my mind is, like, did the valve seat pop again? Because this is also a 6-horse. And no, this time it was something different. The plastic cam broke. So, I mean, like I said, these engines have been getting used. So, I mean, you could see it's got scoring and everything. So I know it was not well maintained by the previous owners. But I mean, for Pete's sake, the thing is with the 6 and 6, the 6 3/4, that engine, in my opinion, just kind of sucks. Because proper maintenance, everything else, you keep it clean. I mean, I keep my screen crazy clean. I'm constantly wiping, keep all the grass off, clean air filter, fresh oil, all that stuff. But it just doesn't matter. They just suck. I mean, the seats are always popping. Oh, you let them overheat. I'm like, no, it did not overheat. I mean, I've seen ones that were barely half a season old that did it, and they were so damn clean. It's not the reason. The tolerance for how much they milled everything, it just is not good. It's kind of like a situation like when you had the 3 and the 3.5 horse Briggs. Those ones seemed to hold up really well. When they went to the 4-horse, they had a very bad problem with the seat popping. Yeah, I don't need you sting me. I'm not in the mood. So anyway, gonna swap the engine again. These engines here actually have a weighted flywheel, cast iron. There's also a weighted aluminum flywheel, which is thick, solid aluminum almost, instead of having all the notches and everything in it. It's got a nice heavy base going around it. That's another type of weighted flywheel. I think the engine I'm going to put on this now is off a pressure washer, if I'm not mistaken, because the pressure washer, they do have a weighted flywheel 9 times out of 10. And the other thing with them is they have the short crank, and that's all you need for this is the short crank. A lot of people are like, oh, the pressure washer junk, can't use the engine for anything, it's got a short crank. Well, that is not true. They make good spares for these things. You can see the bolt had snapped off here. It was not wanting to turn, and I'm thinking, well, the engine's already screwed up, because even if it is the seat, I'm not going to do anything with it, so I really didn't care that the bolt broke off. Now, there's different ways I could get this out. I could weld a nut on here, because just welding the nut's also going to heat this, and you can usually work it out. But again, I just don't care. Even to put a different crank, it's got so much gowling in here that, again, I just don't care. But man, is it annoying to have to keep replacing the engine on this thing. Like, I haven't used this thing in a couple of years now because this engine blew. The before this, I had put like 2 engines on it in the 1 year, and amazingly, the Tecumseh engine lasted for years, even though it was a leaky piece of crap, always leaking around the dipstick tube. And with the dipstick tube, they got this little grommet, and they came out with an update, and they said this would fix the problem. Well, it didn't fix the problem, so I always had just a bunch of silicone or RTV that I put around it, and that stopped the leak. But honestly, that engine never started good, or I just hate Tecumseh, I guess. Maybe they know I don't like them, and that's why they never work for me. The head I had rebuilt a couple years back. So you can see I got these set screw collars in here. There's one there and one here. That keeps this from losing its height, because having a good, even putting a new set screw in here, one that's got a good bite to it where the end's actually still sharp, it doesn't help. I added a second one with my last head, doesn't help. But yeah, that's the only thing I found that worked. And this head is loose again, so even with the collars, but the set screw itself, yeah, they don't stay. And I'm trying to think here. Actually, I replaced the jack shaft last time when I replaced this and this, because it actually, the bolt sheared off. Not from wear, but I hit a rock hard enough where the keyway's molded in plastic, so it's twisted this enough to where it snapped off that little, I'm trying to think, I think it's like a 1/4 inch bolt. And that was a grade 8 that I put in there. I saved the shaft in case everyone drilled out, but I guess I don't care. I do need to get an extra head. I always kept lots of stock of parts for this machine because I used this machine so much at the cemetery. And then when Murray was going to be going out of business, I started buying everything up. These heads were about $2.50 each, and then Briggs bought them out, and they became 14 something each, and I'm assuming the price has gone up since then. I do need to get an extra one of these because this is my last replacement. I still have the other one. It needs to be fixed though. Last I saw, it said discontinued, but the thing is, they still make this under the Toro name, and I want to say Victa, and it's still available for that. So yeah, anyway, I mean, I have a few complaints about this machine. I don't like the flap. This is actually a replacement. It's the way it's floppy rubber, it's kind of stupid. I mean, it just drops into the thing all the time. And then it's always got a problem with these back ones coming loose, which, I could fix it. I haven't really gotten to it. Anyway, but my plan now is to just swap out this motor again. I know the carburetor was rebuilt. It's probably gummed up again, but still, it's got a new air filter and everything. So I'll just save those parts and just scrap the rest, because I don't want to put any more 6 horses on this, because every time I do, they take a crap. So